Well, for more on this, we can speak to David Swanson, who's from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. Let's start, David, with a sense of where these people are going and what kind of conditions they might find when they arrive.
Well, sadly, the humanitarian situation in northwest Syria, in particular Idlib, continues to deteriorate as we speak. What we have essentially now is a crisis within a crisis. Between the 1st of this month and Christmas Day, more than 243,000 people have been displaced. The vast majority, upwards of 80% of them, women and children, fleeing northward to urban areas and to IDP camps in the north of the area.
And what about the kind of conditions that people are fleeing? What are people telling you and your workers on the ground about that?
Well, the situation on the ground was already dire. As you're well aware, at the end of April, we had a major surge in displacement. From the end of April until the end of August, we had more than 400,000 people displaced at that time. So the latest displacement figures comes on top of that. So what we have is one crisis compounding another.
Now, fighting in the area has escalated in recent weeks. I mean, how does that complicate the work that your organisation and other organisations do to provide relief?
Well, I think what's quite challenging is to understand the context of Idlib in specific. It's about twice the size of Luxembourg in landmass, but about 5 times size the population. So at the moment, it is extremely densely populated. So you have large populations moving northward, and many of the aid workers and NGOs that were working in the south, they themselves have become displaced. Their families have been displaced. So it makes it a particularly difficult and challenging work environment for the humanitarian community to respond appropriately.
And of course, David, in that part of the world, it is winter. And I wonder what kind of complications that cold weather brings and how difficult it makes it for people fleeing.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how cold it can actually get. It can drop below zero at nighttime in this part of the country. So it's an incredibly difficult time. So obviously shelter is a major concern for us, not to mention winterization assistance, which is urgently needed as we speak.
David Swanson from the UN Humanitarian Coordination Agency, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time.